Thank you for joining us this evening. This is Tarnation TV. You found us. We've been here the whole time. We are at the Maverick Cup Series here on a Tuesday evening, being June 17th, 2025, and we are at a pretty cool track, a pretty long track, but a pretty cool track. It's Road America, 25 laps on the clock. This thing is about 4 miles long, so it's super cool track. I'm really excited to get this one going here. Anyway, my name is Blaine Donlin, joined by the one and only Rod Weston. Good evening, Rod.
Yeah, another road course again. The last one was a really good race. I'm sure these guys will put on a good show tonight. Kind of close to the Canadian border. We are there in one corner. They call on this track Canada Corner because it's not too far away from the Canadian border. Great road course. It's a long one. A lot of big, pretty tricky braking points. So should be a good race tonight.
Yeah, I didn't know, I knew they called it Canada Corner, but I had no idea why until you mentioned that there last week.
Yeah, it's
pretty cool.
It's just pretty close. I can't give you the actual specs of how close it is. They say it's not too far away from the Canadian border.
And it's funny because I'm looking at the track map at Canada Corner and turn 14. It's only it looks like it's only about 100 feet farther up. So not by much, but it is the closest part.
Yep, it is. And like I said, this has got some long straightaways. The front stretch is quite long, going into a tricky turn right corner, turn to the right on corner one. That's sometimes can be a pretty good braking point to maybe get some passes. The next few corners are a little bit tight. Then you go to another straightaway, not as long as the front stretch, but it's a pretty good little straightaway with a little kink in it that comes down to, which I believe is turn 7. Which is a pretty 90-degree left-hander. And I've seen in my experience racing here, there's a lot of times where that's a place where somebody will end up overdriving a little bit and end off in the little runoff area. Luckily, there's one there. There's a series of road, quickie tricks left and right, and then the carousel. And then we get down to the kink, they call it. Then Canada Corner, a couple more, and we're back on the front stretch. So it's I like this place. I've always liked racing here, just never been really good here.
Yeah, I've always liked racing at road courses, and with some of the guys, obviously it's hard to compete with some of the talent out here, but it's always a fun time because there's always a lot of space, and once you get the hang of your braking points, in practice, I'll have the racing line on just to sort of get my bearings so I'm not flying off into the forest. And then, I always shut the racing line off for the race, but it's always a lot of fun. Road courses are always really cool. We were practicing there a month or two ago at Fast. They have a new track that they were working on, and I got the private invite to go drive on that thing. And it was cool. I ended up fourth. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, nice. I finished fourth with these guys? These guys built this track. I've only been racing on this thing for a couple hours, and I actually ended up with fourth. But it's just, I'm always very cautious when I'm at road courses too. I'm not really using the whole track. And of course, as you get more used to the track, you get your points and stuff. But I do love how they have these massive long straightaways that go right into these borderline 90-degree turns.
Yeah, and then you got
stop.
And stop, yeah. And I've seen in real life a car go down through there, down in the front stretch, and I was watching it on TV there, and he lost his brakes. And they've got a fairly lengthy runoff area down there. It's all gravel and everything. That didn't matter. He hit so hard. He went over the fence and out off the track.
Yikes. Down the front straightaway into turn one.
Front straight off. Hit the tire barriers, which launched him into the fence, and right up and over the fence he went.
Yikes.
In a INSA car, but not one of the prototypes. It was one of the kind of like a stock. They're not stock. They're two cars, but they look like a stock car kind of thing. And he went for quite a ride.
Yikes.
But 25 laps though. It's over 2 minutes to get around this track. So
yeah, it's about a 4 mile long. It's 4.048 mile length on this thing. Probably one of the longest road courses, because what's the Circuit of the Americas? That's just under 4. It's 3.75 or something, I think.
The longest road course is the Nürburgring.
Oh, the Nürburgring,
That's the full course. Yeah.
What's it,
But no,
27 kilometers or something?
I forget what it is, but it is something. I think it's somewhere around 13 or something like that, 13, 14 miles long.
Right. So 27 kilometers sounds about right then.
I don't know. I don't know the kilometers. That's you guys up there.
Oh man, yeah, that track's nuts. But there's so many different configurations of it too, which is super cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing tonight would be interesting. We've seen Jack Merkel, he has been qualifying, but he's been asking for an end along this line and go into the back. It's a challenge that somebody gave him for the year, and he's been doing it. And unfortunately, last week he was able to go to the back and was able to make it all the way up through to win. And chip the monkey off his back from the paint scheme that Jeff Gord had won on. He'd never been able to win with, so he finally did that. And Zach Rogers was talking last week that he might go to the back. I don't know, but I know right now currently they're in qualifying, and he is qualifying. So it'd be interesting to see if he decides just to qualify, take that better pit stall, and then see if he goes to the back or not.
Right. Showing qualifying right now, it looks like Zach Rogers has the pole position, 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Mercurio in second with 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Michael Norman in third with 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So this will be a cool race. Yellow flags will be run by the administrators. We probably would only see a yellow if it's a multi-car wreck. And the bonus with them controlling the yellows, it's a custom executable file that they run server side. So they are able to they could, in theory, it's a 4-mile lap. They could make it yellow for 30 seconds, let everybody get sorted, and then send it green again. So they would be able to go green at the line, within the span of one lap, which is very cool, especially on a broadcasted race like this. So it looks like the qualifying standings are in. We're going to run down this list right here. Looks like we got about 33 drivers on track that took times. And we also have on YouTube, we were talking about Zach Rogers. We have him piped in here on his live YouTube stream as well. So while we're going down the list of our qualifying list, let's ride along with Zach, and he'll take us for a ride around this track.
He'll show you how to get it done for sure.
Which button do I press? That one. Cool. All right, then. So do you want me to start, or do you want to go for it?
Go for it, bud.
All right. So on the pole position, we got the 84, Zach Rogers. Second place, the 86, Josh Mercurio. Third place, the number 22 of Michael Norman. Fourth place, the number 052 of Victor Delgado III. Fifth place, the number 66 of Keith Bowden. Sixth place, the number 70 of Paulo Vitor. First race here, I think.
This year. Yep.
Yeah. And then Trey Kinsey in the 18 and 7th. Santi Gutierrez in the 81 and 8th place. Zachary Hall driving the 32 car to a 9th place start. And in 10th, we've got, is it Matt Scully?
Yep.
Cool, in the 14.
Then the 11th, we're going to have the 68 of Carby Edwards. 12th, the 23. Now, I'm trying to remember what his first name is. We don't have that standings up here yet. What's the 23's first name? Do you remember that?
Gravois.
Garrett.
I think it's Jarrett.
Yeah. Garrett Gravois. Sorry about that. 13th is the 2 of Jonathan Peavy, one of the front runners of last week's or so. And then we have the number 14, in 14th, the number 30, Sergius. I haven't got my number dyslexia's kicking in.
Start that one.
73. And I believe that one is, I don't have everything up, so it's kind of hard for me to remember all the names.
Yeah, we got Carrera. I can't remember the first name.
Yep. Of course, the 15th spot starting is the 19 of Crocodile Cromp, one of the coolest names ever. 16th would be the 92, a New Hampshire veteran up here, Austin LaPlante. And 17th is the 06 of Trig Tauger. 18th is the 49 of Noah Wenzel. 19th position is the 27 of Mark Snyder. And then in the 20th position, he's actually, I think, going to race tonight. Maybe we'll see. It's Keith Hudgens.
Hughes.
Keith Hughes. Why do I call him Hudgens?
I don't know.
I don't know why.
I don't know. We'll find that out in the post-race interview. Why does Broad always call Keith Hughes Keith Hudgens? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got the number 42 car in the 21st position. Dylan Young, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, the pressure's on without a full list here. I probably should have printed that out.
We should probably do that, yeah.
Yeah. Benjamin Snyder driving the number 7 to the 20. Did he put a time up? Yes, he did. Benjamin Snyder did run a lap, and he is in 22nd position in the 7 car. And we've got in 23rd position the 502 of Garcia. In 24th position, the 34 of Carlos Mendez. The 25th position in the 43 car. We've got Allison Rodrigo, Rod Weston. We can skip that guy. Jack Merkel in the 24 car in the technically the 26th spot. Jorge Pachon in the 72 in the 27th spot. Tate Dorsey in the 6 in the, I'm doing the math now, 28th spot.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because we've got us, of course, Rod and I are on this list because we have to join as drivers. But anyway, to round out, do you want to run from Thomas right to the bottom?
Sure. And 31st position, number 31, which is, I like that number. It's my car number. It's the 54 of Thomas, and I don't know his first name. Gotta figure that out. But then the 20, we're going to do it wrong. I'm just going to go to the next one. It'll be the 37 of Atkins, and then the 78 of RJ Bishop. And we got a few people here tonight. Then the 738 of Mac McIntyre, and then the 31, which of course is my favorite number, is Matthias Yankees, rounding out our field.
Yeah. This is going to be a good one, man. A lot of people showed up tonight. There's a lot of good drivers out here, too. I do find that when we come to tracks like this, we got to learn a whole bunch of new names because guys love these road courses more than they like the ovals.
Oh, yeah.
So when they hear that there's especially something like this at Elkhart Lake, we're gonna get a lot of good drivers out here. Of course, Zach with the pole position, but Merkel's in there too, and these guys are good, man. And yes, it's only 25 laps. However, remember it is a 4-mile lap, so this won't be over quick.
And of course, now we just got the information from Benjamin Snyder. We have 22 drivers from the USA. We got 4 from Brazil. That would be the 34, the 43, the 70, and the 502. We have 1 from Argentina. That would be Matthias Yankee. 1 from Australia. That would be Matt Scully. 1 from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we got one up there.
Who is it?
That is the 66 of Keith Bowen.
Okay.
Then 1 from Colombia, the 72 of Jorge Pachon. Is that right?
Jorge Pachon.
And 1 from Peru, that would be the 81 of Santiago Gutierrez. Do apologize. I try not to butcher you guys' names. And then 1 from Puerto Rico, and that would be the 73 Carrera. Okay. And then our manufacturers tonight, there is 9 Toyotas, 4 Chevys, 6 Fords, 3 Lexuses, 2 Dodges, 2 Kias, which are the Snyder guys, and of course Josh Mercurio in the Cadillac, and 1 Pontiac, and that one I believe was Matt McIntyre.
That's funny. I love how there's Lexus out here.
I like. And we do have, when he runs, and he may run tonight, we do have 1 Honda. He was out there, he took time, but I don't know if he is actually running because Keith Hughes has been sitting around playing this sitting admin for a while. So
Keith Hughes, not Hudgens. Yeah.
Hudgens. I'm sorry, I like Vanessa Hudgens, so that's probably why I say it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, you got it in there. All right, it looks like we're going to be going here. And as we do every single week here, we have a special Grand Marshal. Links in the description below to his YouTube channel. Of course, this is host of the ARCA Racing Podcast, Colby Evans. And we'll just say, hey, take it away, Colby.
Drivers, start your engines.
Thank you, Sir Colby.
Look at that, and a go-kart on the background. I like that.
Yeah, I thought you'd dig that one. I'm like, oh, Rod's going to like this one. Dude's got the old gold card out there, but yeah, we're waiting for the call. Fire these engines up.
Because I got asked to do it, and so I had kind of a plan, and then it kind of, I got busy and then forgot about it, and then Benjamin reminded me, and so I kind of just said, all right, last minute, here we go, this is what we're going to do. I kind of think it's funny that they're going to do a complete, full pace lap.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, but that does change a little bit. Yeah, to take the tire wear and change that some. Not as much. And their fuel mileage will be less if they just, because a lot of times with people with road courses, we'll just start them at the halfway, kind of a little past halfway.
Looks like Noah Wetzel pulled off to the side there, probably to just go to the back of the pack. Focus on an actual vehicle here.
So you can see Zach Rogers decided not to go to the back of the pack, so he's going to start from the front. Now I know he was talking about it if his speed was X faster than everybody else's, that he would probably go to the back. If it was within a certain speed where he wasn't quite fast as he thought that that he needed to be. You were talking earlier how he had sent you some information explaining, basically fuel mileage, tire wear, and all that.
Yeah, so he was saying because we have Zach on his live feed, we're able to bring in his YouTube stream into this. So we were letting him, while we were doing the qualifying rundown, trying to pronounce people's names. Again, we're professional, but only 90%. He was taking us he was taking us for a ride around, and we were watching the live feed from his YouTube channel, so you can follow him. What was he saying about the tires? Okay, so he was doing some. Yeah, the fuel was a 9-lap fuel window, which is going to come into play. But he says tires will come into play first because he was putting up hot laps, and then as the tires fall off, he was seeing a 3-second fall off from his hot lap to starting to kind of try to save tires as they wear out. So 3 seconds is massive. Like, if you don't, and keep in mind too, if you don't go into the pits, you've got a 4-mile drive before you can do that again. That's a long way around this track to be like, I can probably go one more lap. Like, you could probably go one more lap at Bristol. It's like a half mile. You're talking 4 miles, left and right hand turns.
So now the thing you got to think of. So the math says that to do it in 9 laps. That means that it's going to take you a little over 2 pit stops. So we rounded up to 3 pit stops, which is about 8 laps plus. So I would say if the thing goes caution free, the smart money is going to be to try to stop and do a 3-stop strategy, which would be 2 pit stops, and try to drag it out to lap 8. So that may not work for everybody because we know Zach's pretty smooth. We know that he's going to probably be able to get 8 laps easily with his tires. Mind you, he said that that's about where he said he probably would want to pit. So you got to think about it like that. Maybe we'll see some 4-stop strategies, a 3-stop strategy, but 4 runs, because your tire wear won't last.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do. Because the biggest problem is if you can do it 1 less pit stop, that's a lot of time you save that you're not on pit road.
Yeah.
Pace car's coming on pit road right now, so now let's just see kind of, hopefully we can get through turn one without too many problems.
Yeah, turn one is going to be...
You can run 3 wide down the straightaway, maybe even 4 wide. But when you get to that corner, you really don't even want to be too wide. Oh, Josh McCurry on the bottom got a really good run at this jump on the start there. He didn't jump it, he just got a really good start. Oh no! Leaders get taken out.
The leaders are being carted off to the hospital.
That's
with serious collarbone fractures.
Zach's just trying to get it off from the dirt so he doesn't get towed.
Oh, he's going to have to start pumping that clutch.
Oh, he is. He's pumping the clutch. He's trying really hard to get it. Now he's free. He's out of there. So now the thing is, he is going to be on a charge, but he can't be on a charge. Got to run the race smoothly and smartly.
Yeah. We've got pace car lights.
Just going to say that might have brought out a caution. So, and I do believe the way their rule is, single car spin, that's not going to cause a caution. But if you get a multiple car spin, we know that, you know, the 052, the 052, the 84, and Josh Mercurio, the 86 were all involved in that. Yeah, so that's more than 3 cars. I didn't really get a chance to look back to see if anybody else got involved in that as well. But
Paulo Vitor and Michael Norman got through that no problem. We're just watching it on the instant replay here now. We'll get you a couple of different angles of this.
They got through the corner. Great.
Yeah. And we can kind of just put these cameras wherever we want, thanks to Tyler Mallon and using free cam. We'll go into slow-mo here so I can get a little bit better. It just looks like Mercurio had a different breaking point, and Delgado the third just tagged him just a little bit. And all that just dominoed all 3 leaders into the kitty litter. I believe there was a second instance back here. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was just the leaders.
We talked about how that corner tightens up.
Yeah.
And you know, just basically, you know, a simple, too much, you know, didn't brake quick enough. Maybe, you know, just got in there a little too hot. And Victor Delgado the third just, he couldn't stop. And he got into it.
Not a bad job by everybody involved, really. I mean, mishap in the front row and the fact that nothing else really happened. There was another little discrepancy there, but those guys were actually going 4 wide with a couple people being on the actual grass, and they were able to get through that. So I think I'm going to set pit road 1 camera up right about here.
Now, of course, everybody's got to get around and take the yellow. That means the pit road will be closed. Then it's another trip around before anybody can pit. Now, I guarantee you will probably see Josh Mercurio and Zach Rogers pit, take 4 tires and fuel, and that way their strategy can change their strategy just a little bit. Now, mind you, know, they haven't gone very far, but both of them slid. Zach for quite a while too, so that will put some tire wear on this, you know, wearing his tires there a bit. But I think you'll see them pit, take 4 tires, and then they can, you know, just slowly, methodically, they'll work their way right through the field. And I'm sure Zach will be back near the front of this by the end of it. Be interesting to see if it goes green all the way, if he can get there.
And I think too, every time they pit, it'll be a full service deal, just because of how long the laps are, right?
Absolutely. It would be, you know, I can't believe that if they've gone, the only way I could imagine that would be happen something like that is if they had maybe pitted, done maybe 2 laps, and, you know, somebody decides, well, I'm just going to take left side tires and, you know, hope.
Right.
You know, because most of the turns on here are going to the right. Most of your hard turns are, but you do have a few early in the run there, the end of 7 and 8. That
getting a look at the 70 there of Paulo Vitor, first race here at Maverick Cup Series, currently rolling around here in 2nd place. welcome.
Him and Michael Norman made the great moves to get themselves out front.
They were in a good spot because where the impact happened, it just kind of shooted those 3 leaders just off to the side, and they were able to just stay side by side, him and Norman, and just drive right through it.
Now, it'd be interesting to see is do they pit, you know?
Yeah, that is going to be... The lights on the pace car are on, so they will allow for pitting. So here's something. ASR, Brian Wolf is running a season over there, a series over there, Sunday Super Speedway Series on Sundays. Imagine that. Yeah. Starting on the 29th of June. Would you be able to co-host that stuff, being Sundays? 8 weeks.
If as long as they keep doing what they're doing racing-wise, yes.
Cool.
But, I can't get home, obviously I can't. But you know me, I'd always be here to do this if we can, as long as my real racing, is going to allow me to do it.
Yeah, and he's running an 8-week race, which ends up being, and no fancy points, no playoffs, no nothing. Just let the game export, control the points.
Nice.
And there'd be 8, and then whoever has the most points at the end of 8 wins the championship. Old school NASCAR style.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's coming up.
I do want to give a shout out to Brian Wolf for covering for me while, unfortunately in my racing career, we got a few guys.
Yep, Sonny Gutierrez all by himself.
Yep. I want to thank Brian for covering for me. It just the racing, I get home too late sometimes, and unfortunately I was unable to attend.
There's a couple other guys. There's Jorge Pachon back there, and Rawson. Those guys are coming. Or not Rawson. He doesn't race here. Dorsey.
The good news is
Ben, Noah, Mark.
Got 3 second-place finishes, so I'm solidly in second place in points.
Nice.
You can see Josh Mercurio in there. Let's see if Zach pitted, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Nope.
He stayed out.
He stayed out. He's at the back. He stayed out. Interesting.
He knows something. Well, I don't know. He's got a plan then, because I don't. I think if I was Zach, I would have pitted. I really think I would have.
Yeah, he's being scored 25th. I mean, he's at the back of the pack. Now, tires in that spin probably didn't take much damage, really, because it was all in the grass and the sand. But you're talking about a 4-mile lap.
You know what I mean?
And possible rear end damage, too.
Just don't know why he didn't pit. I mean, I would have pitted. Yeah, I can understand why Michael Norman and Paulo Victor, Victor, I'm saying Vitor, Paulo Vitor didn't pit, because they're right up front. I mean, that's the safest place for them guys to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have, if being in the back like that, I mean, Zach must know something we don't. I would have pitted and got tires, and
he might be anticipating another stack up in turn 1.
It's possible. I mean, that's a good possibility. This isn't Sonoma. These straightaways are a lot longer, so it's easier, for somebody to overdrive and break, in the corner and have an issue as like we saw on the very first lap. So
yeah. And different braking points for every driver. You want to go. Some guys like to be in the middle of the track. Where they headed into the braking zone. Like, it's just so many variables when you're coming into a.
You think about it at Sonoma. Okay, if you've got what we had pretty much 40 cars there. So by the time the leader has taken the green and going, the guys in the back haven't even got to turn 11 yet.
Yeah, they're still coming through that pin.
Right, so there's a bit of room for separation before you really get to turn 2, where which would be the first place where you'd really have any type of calamity. You know what I mean? So here you got a long straightaway. Everybody's got get up through the gears. You're in the high gear. You're really rolling fast, and if you just overstep your bounds, just a little bit, it's a lot easier here to have an issue going into one than it would be at basically, at least at turn 2 at Sonoma.
Oh, somebody just brought it up in the chat that there's 25 laps in this race. I just realized I had a cover on.
You had it at 250.
It was a cover up because something crashed last week, and it actually I have a hotkey to put that up there, but the hotkey was actually one hotkey brings up a background cover and a number.
Brian, we need, or
But
Zach,
I
we need.
had the
we need
number
Seth
on
in
and
here.
yeah, I had the background on and the number off. So when I push the hotkey, it actually just starts alternating. So it's anyway, 25 laps, 4 miles
And
per
I
lap.
see that JLP is in the chat, and we knew he wasn't going to be here tonight. So
Yeah,
pace car is back on pit road.
he's the one who let me know that they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought I cycled it off, but because they were inverted, it wouldn't have mattered what I did. It would always be covered up. Anyway, thank you, JLP.
And we miss you. Hope you would like to see you here racing tonight. Wow, that was a late green. Looks like Zach Hall got a really good in that Lexus. Able to get underneath Michael Norman, and just the thing of it is, Michael got a better run off from that corner, being on that outside.
Everybody got into out of turn 1 pretty good. And away we go. This will
Now
allow
the
everybody
next-
to get spread out.
A little bit. Now we get into turn what I call turn 7. I could be wrong on the numbers, but I believe it is.
It's actually, if you escape out of the game and go to the track picture on your event info, it actually has a track map.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So it's turn 5 that they call it turn 5. Okay.
Yeah, I remember you searching for that number, and I think you might have been wrong on that. I was involved in the conversation, but yeah, I realized there was a track map there, which is kind of cool. Norman with Kinsey all over him.
I was just gonna say, Trey Kingsley's gotten himself into the second place position. Just
Zachary
basically,
Hall?
and he's
Yeah.
sending it in there. He is a little out of control in the carousel. He got to be a little smoother there.
He held on to it.
That call got back by him. So this is the kink here,
That
where they're
kink's
going
awesome.
through.
I love
Yeah,
that kink.
and if the setup is decent, it all depends on the setup too. Some drivers can go through there wide open.
Yeah,
Of course, here
it
comes
looks
Michael
like he was able to pull that thing.
Canada corner.
Yep. Another dirt trap there too on the left side.
Oh, yeah.
If you overshoot that one. But yeah, I remember that kink was a lot of fun. If you can you don't even need to lift if you can sling that thing in there at the right time.
And even though the setup, whoa, Zachary Hall, a little loose off the last corner there.
Something happened there, yeah.
Good save though. He only lost 2 positions. Kept it going, but I think he might have dropped the wheel, which is another concern you have here. You drop the wheel, you don't. I can tell you, you don't have traction when these slick tires touch grass. It doesn't work.
Yeah, Vitor got around him. For his first race in the series here, Paulo Vitor is right there in third, man, right behind Kinsey and Norman. Disqualification for the number 7 of Benjamin Snyder. Did he disqualify himself? He owns this place. He can't get disqualified. He should be able to run in reverse the whole day and not get disqualified. He runs this thing. He's the reason this league exists. Nah, he would never do that. He's fair.
I wouldn't do that if I ran my own league. So
No, of course not. Just totally joking around. He would never do that.
yeah. Interestingly enough, we haven't been paying attention to him, but Mr. Merkel, Jack Merkel, he's got himself up into the 7th position, wearing out the mirror of Zachary Hall there. So
Out of nowhere, yep.
out of nowhere, I just happened to be starting to kind of look. I wanted to go back and check up on Zach Rogers and see how he was doing. And when I got back there, I just happened to notice that Jack had already worked his way up there pretty good. So that bodes well for him. That gives him an opportunity. Oh, Jonathan Peavy, a little loose there through the kink. Wow. He had that thing sideways and saved it, and I don't even think he missed a beat.
That was Peavy, you were saying?
Jonathan Peavy coming out of the kink there. I think he just dropped the wheel a little bit. He got it sideways. He saved it.
We'll go back and catch a replay of that.
Josh Mercurio currently up into the 12th position. I'm just kind of going back through and checking up on the drivers that were involved in that first incident and just see how they're doing. So he's up into the 12th position and just got past Austin LaPlante. So he is working his way back towards the front.
Yeah, just checking out Peavy's save there. That was definitely a
pretty
nail
good.
biter, I think. Join us at Daytona with the Maverick Cup Series on July 8th. That'll be a good one.
One of the guys
Daytona's
that we
always
saw
exciting.
pit, they're the first guy to do that, was the 81 Cinta Gutierrez. I know I'm going to say that wrong. He
That's
is
pretty good.
currently in the
Good, yeah.
17th position. Those newer tires, is working his way towards the front.
Oh,
Has
ended
actually
the-
passed Zach Rogers. Now, Zach could be on a totally different strategy.
Paulo Vitor just got into the sand there and lost a couple positions. He's back on track now. Alison Rodrigo right behind him.
So getting back to Zach Rogers, he is currently in the 20th position. A lot of right side damage on that car. Not sure what happened to him, but he could just be on a different strategy, more saving and trying to. But he may have a strategy where he's just trying to run a little smarter, saving his stuff a little bit more, let them guys burn it up.
We were just watching a replay there on the torque coming off of the Curio's car. You can see, like, sometimes the tires get up in the air when they hit those bumpy curves.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shoots the car, and then they slam the throttle at the right time. It sort of looks like the car almost wants to do a wheelie. It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it kind of lifts the inside tire off the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
That would be based on the setup. I remember when I used to race over to Hobo, there was a guy over there. I can't remember his name right now. It doesn't matter. He, just for fun, he basically took the whole front sway bar out of the truck at Martinsville.
Okay.
When he come off the corner, the left front was about 2 feet in the air.
Cool.
Factory haul just after Canada corner, they got off into the grass a little bit, kind of nosed it into the fence, but he's going to get it going. Just keeping track of Jack Merkel there. Positions keep changing on the thing, so I'm kind of wondering what's going on there, but
Yeah, Hall's got some bad damage to the right side of that car. Holy moly.
so I'm kind of curious. But I'm showing Jack Merkel back down to the 20th position, so he just barely got a little off the track there on the exit of one. Got it a little loose, saved it, kept right on going, but he was up a lot more positions a little while ago, and now he's down to the 20th. So something must have happened to him where he had an off-road excursion or something.
We'll see if we can find it.
Not sure when, but
Yep.
Ooh.
Jack Merkel on lap 6. Right here, he's running in 4th position on this replay. He goes around Paulo Vitor. And he just got clipped and got into the sand trap. So from 4th to 20th.
not very long. Just got. That's hard. That sand trap is hard to get out of.
Yeah, they're deep.
Hats off to Noah Wenzel. Just watched him. He just went a lap down He literally drove off the track onto the grass to make sure that Michael Norman had room enough to get through the carousel.
Yeah, I don't think that incident with Merkel, I don't know if that's anybody's fault. That's a tough one to call.
Yeah. So now we just took lap 8.
Yep.
I am focused on Michael Norman, who is our current leader.
Okay.
I want to see, is he going to pit? He's just coming off from turn 4, going through 4 now under the bridge, the Sargento Bridge, going down into 5.
85% of this field has to pit.
Yes.
When they're going to do it, that's the question.
According to our source, that they can only do about 9 laps.
And tires will be an issue before fuel. So yes, we were under yellow for about 3 of those laps almost, but tires are an issue before fuel.
Well, you got me thinking now. We had 3 laps under caution.
Yeah.
Did he, is he able to go one more lap?
But he is exactly, if you look at the top right there, he's exactly 1 second slower from his best. So maybe the tires are starting to fade.
Well, I'm sure they are. Trey Kingsley's right behind him, putting some pressure on him. But I don't, I just don't know. I think he's going to probably to do the 3-stop or 2-stop strategy. You got to do it now.
You can see some lap traffic in front of Norman. That's the 37 of Jane Adkins. Another retired car, Matthias Yankee, has retired.
Coming off the last corner, let's just see.
There's the pit entrance, and they're staying out.
We're going to do one more lap. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, we got 3 laps under caution. The fuel-wise, they might be able to go the distance, and they should be able to get one more in. So now, if you do that,
in the pits.
Think about it. I kind of like that idea. If you can do one more lap now, you can do the last 2 in 8.
Rogers went to the pits. Who's that? Is that RJ? No, that's not RJ. Oh, that's the 73.
Trey Kingsley's going for the lead in the turn 5. The 37 just had to he got out of the way. I mean, he was Jane Atkins there. They saw him coming and had to move.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw Michael Norman smoking the tires coming off from the. Oh God, I think it'd be turn 7.
Yeah, we just saw the overtake there. The 37 did a great job moving over, but it did. Kinsey jumped on it. He took advantage of that.
That's a great one of the. It's either turn 1, turn 5, or Canada Corner. The 3 places that are really good braking points where you can maybe catch them and pass them. Although Michael Norman's trying to keep them honest, they're coming down now into Canada Corner, and Michael Norman's got on the inside of him.
It's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be good. Helicopter view.
Very good.
Kinsey lets him go.
That was smart. Don't cause an issue for you both. Just got the position, let him have it. Let me see if I can get it back.
No, he's letting him know he's there.
Oh, wow.
Nice. He's letting him know he's there.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Are they pitting this time by? Trey Kingsley's going to. Michael Norman is going to stay out.
Huh. Kinsey to the pits.
Mark Snyder's going in. Just looking to see who's pitting.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. I was thinking that might have been a different kind of move. to stay out like that, but
The only advantage
everybody else, I mean, a lot of cars didn't go down. So
Crocodile Crump, just in the 19 there, he's John Pit Road.
Your new second place car there of Carlos Mendez being followed there by Josh Mercurio.
Kirby Edwards, I'm not sure where he is yet. Had a little trip out onto Canada corner. He saw some kitty litter out there. He wanted to play in for a little bit.
Oh, tire just went down on Carlos Mendez, and he's deep in the sand.
Oh,
his right front failed on him, and it sent him into the muck. He's going to be able to slap the clutch and get it out of there, but you can see that car leaning.
That's going to make it hard.
Low, yeah.
Jonathan Peavy, he's got a right front down.
A lot of tires are failing here. Now, I wonder if Norman...
Right front down, just going into the carousel right now. So he's got a long ways to go with the right front down.
I'm thinking all these guys got to come in here now. Mendez, Peavy, Norman, Bowden, Kinsey, Rodrigo, like LaPlante, Bishop, Dorsey. All these guys, Dorsey already did, actually. Merkel, Gravois. A lot of cars that didn't pit yet.
Okay, here comes Michael Norman. Michael Norman's coming down pit road this time. That's pretty impressive. And they had some caution flags.
Yeah.
But he run that long in tires.
There goes Bowden.
So
Rodrigo.
That's still a good strategy, though, because he's only got 15 laps left. So he could cut that in half to an 8 and a 7 and, have good tires near the end. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strategy people use.
So your new leader now is Mercurio. And Mercurio did pit that in the first cycle, so he's able to go a little bit further.
See Mendez coming down through there with that flat right front tire. That's harsh. That's just hard.
Oh, I forgot. Brian Wolf actually sent us a commercial. So I'm going to play this. We'll mute our mics. We'll still be able to see the race. But join Tarnation TV. We'll be broadcasting 8 weeks live over at ASR. And it'll be, an 8-week season. No fancy playoff points.
Gotta say this real quick. Because Michael Norman came out of the pits. Trey Kinsley was just behind him. Trey Kingsley was able to get out in front of him with Michael Norman right on his rear tail. So that was good pit stops by both of those guys.
Nice.
Go ahead. Sorry about that. I had to bring that up because it's a good race up front.
Yeah, all good. This commercial plays in behind us anyway, so Brian made this for us. As you can see there, they will be running the Aero 88 mod. The Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, which is a version of Talladega. Broadcasting Tarnation Television.
I'll be there as much as I can.
Yep. Live at ASR Sunday night starting June 19th, right here. And I do like the points setup because it's every week you race. If you collect the most points at the end of the 8th race, whoever has the most wins the championship. Easy peasy.
Yep.
No playoffs, no fancy stuff, nothing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the playoff system. Just me. When NASCAR started doing that, I really didn't. And the only good thing about it, I guess, would be is first year they did that, Jeff Gordon would have won the championship, and he didn't because they did the playoffs. So
right.
I'm not a Gordon fan.
Right. There goes Delgado the third. Victor, he was, one lap down. Yeah, Victor Delgado the third on his way for his pit stop now. Jane Adkins is out of the race. Accident. There comes Mercurio out of the pits. Well, really, it only looks like he lost a couple spots.
I think he's going to be too bad. He's going to be right out there in third.
Sandy Gutierrez currently being scored in third. RJ Bishop being scored in second.
I think he's going to be, once he gets back around, I think he'll be in the 3rd position, just behind Michael Norman and Trey Kingsley, that are having a heck of a battle.
There's Matt McIntyre. He is on the lead lap still.
They just passed Stephen Thomas. I'm trying to think. I think he just went 1 lap down. Mom and Pop's Ford Fusion. A lot of these guys, not everybody is a good road racer. Road racing takes a different style of racing, and it's some people just aren't really great at it. Some people are really good at it. And of course, most of the road course racers aren't good at ovals.
Yeah. Speaking of road courses, Sonoma was our last road course here. And that, so far, is the biggest margin of victory here at the Maverick Cup Series season 2025. A 59.76 second gap from first to second.
Oh, no!
What happened?
Josh McCrio off Canada cornered her. Mark Snyder was going a lap down and such, and he was giving him room, but it kind of just messed up Josh going into the corner. Mark didn't do anything wrong. Josh just overshot the corner a little bit, dropped it into the kitty litter, and he didn't lose any positions, I don't think, but I think he lost a little time to the leaders.
Yeah, he was able to keep the throttle in there. It took no damage, just a lot of time lost there. Yeah, Mark gave him, Mark held his line, did nothing wrong there.
That dropped him back to the 7th position. Guess who's up in 5th? Zach Rogers has worked his way up through the field. Remember, it's all under green flag conditions since that caution came out.
Yeah.
He's worked his way up into the 5th position. He's currently, a ways behind the 2 leaders, about 13 seconds behind them. He's probably kind of hoping for a caution at the right time to maybe help him get caught up.
That's tough to get cautions on a road course, unfortunately. A lot of right side damage to that rig.
We were paying attention to Kingsley and Michael Norman there, but they we got one up in front of them. The 42, Dylan
Rodrigo
Dylan Young has got a left front tire down. Us going into the carousel kind of didn't really mess him up too bad. Just it's hard for him to try to keep out of the guys away behind him. That Trey Kingsley and Michael Norman will kind of come up behind him. He had a little bit of struggle, but we were paying attention to them guys, and we weren't really recognizing that RJ Bishop and Cynthia Gutierrez is in 2nd.
Yep.
About almost 4 seconds ahead of Trey Kingsley and Michael Norman.
Yeah, Gutierrez sort of came out of nowhere and had a good pit stop and was just sort of there the whole time.
I think he was the first one to pit in that first caution, and I think that paid off. Or not the first caution, but the first one to pit under the green flag positions. So he actually made up some time. Zachary Hall's trying really hard he saw a blade of grass out there that just needed to be mowed down a little bit.
There's Carlos Mendez just overtook Sandy Gutierrez. It's hard to get updated positions because the laps are so long. A guy will get passed by 4 people, and then it'll be like, wait, what happened? Oh, Austin LaPlante headed to the sand trap. Beach towels. I think I forgot to show this screen here. At the bottom, you'll notice, after 11 races, Austin LaPlante has completed the most laps with 1,138 and has run the most miles with 1,759 miles so far this season.
Just looking through going through the field.
Shows up and drives a lot.
Does well every week.
Yep.
Always, he's always there. He's always finishing. He's had I think maybe one bad race this season. Other than that, he's usually in the top 5, top 15. Just keeps plugging away.
Trey Kinsey in first position, Michael Norman right behind him.
Jorge Pachon is back in the 15th, still in the lead lap. A bit behind them all. I just kind of always like that car. That's a sharp looking. I just think that car is so cool looking.
Yeah, we've talked about this paint job before, and like there's a few in here that we really do lean on. All these paint schemes are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like even the car in front there, Scully, the Energizer car is pretty sharp too. You know, I've got my favorite very simple designs, and then I've got my favorite super complicated designs, like the 41 in the Spartan Speedway series with that Crown Royal car painted by Rodney Sullins. It's loud, it's busy, it's crazy, it's awesome. And then you've got a paint job like the 72 of Jorge Pachon, where it's just, you know, a couple of good lines, nice. And it's crisp, it's nice.
Classically looks awesome.
Whoa. Scully off the track there a little bit.
I had Rodney Sullins paint me up a Jaeger bomb car.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, it is absolutely phenomenal. And I really do miss not racing it. I'm not racing at all right now currently in the online stuff, but just my computer for whatever reason did not like that mod they were running, and I had to turn everything down. And all right, now I can't do that because then I'm going to be wrecking somebody, and I don't want to do that.
Do you want to go for a ride with somebody around this track? Maybe we'll crank it up for a lap. Who do you want to sit in the cockpit with?
Well, I think, we got to go to our current point leader, Jack Merkel. I mean, currently sitting in the 6th position. He just went up to 5th. So I think you ought to show him. He's getting her done today.
Cool. We'll be quiet for a minute or two, and we'll let Jack do the driving. So if you got a good sound system, crank it up. We'll use the V8 pack, and it's pretty sweet if you got a big subwoofer. Thanks for joining us on that little crank it up there. Now, apparently I have to load up a...
We missed some stuff.
Yeah.
Currently, the second place guy, he's on pit road right now getting 4 tires. And watching him travel through the kink, he had all 4 tires literally off the track, and it rolled right through there. That was pretty awesome to watch.
Here's a replay of the 18, Trey Kinsey. And you're saying now he's on pit road getting service.
He is off pit road now. He is done pitting for the night, and he is.
Oh yeah, he used the grass on the right.
He didn't even use track. Just turned that thing and just right off into the grass. And I'll tell you, that works. That makes it fast. The problem is when it doesn't work, it's not good. Little episode going on down there in the exit of turn 5. Somebody was kind of in the kitty litter as Trey Kingsley just went through it. Kind of no yellow flag. They got out of the way and kept going. But
another great looking paint job too is that Sandy Gutierrez in the 81. Those are some colors that shouldn't work, but it looks cool. It looks like a hybrid of a couple different cars actually.
Matt McIntyre, I believe, decided that his tires needed a little bit of help, and so he went to the kitty litter in Canada Corner.
Oh, Paulo Vitor into the kitty litter as well.
Getting near the end of the race, the end of this run. Most everybody's got to make a pit stop except for the ones that just did. The tires are getting worn out. Merkel on pit road right now. Currently, he was in the 4th position.
Allison Rodrigo drifting up the hill there. That was crazy.
Rogers, Michael Norman, they're all on pit road right now. I think they had to. Trey Kingsley pitted. You've got to answer. You can't let him be out there for too long on good tires. He's been running up front all night. Even though you go back out there, you'll have pretty decent tires. You can't let him be out there on fresh tires for too long, because it'll make it. See, just as I say that, they come off pit road. Trey Kingsley goes right around the outside of Zach Rogers, Michael Norman,
and Merkel.
Santiago Gutierrez he had pitted, I think, a little bit earlier, and Merkel had just come out of pit road.
I mean, this is your top 5 right
Probably
here,
your top 5.
Yeah.
Not right at the moment, but you're pretty much assured that's going to be your top 5.
Yeah.
And everything kind of comes into play.
Kinsey, Norman, Rogers, Merkel, and Gutierrez. Was it Gutierrez? Yes, it was.
Yep. Trey Kingsley just get out there. He's on tires that a little bit warmer. He got him up. He's up to speed a little bit quicker. He got into turn 1 right around these guys. But these guys' tires are just coming up to temperature. Gotta say, Zach Roberts is currently, I believe he's going to come out there in the 2nd position. Jack Merkel's going to be in 3rd. Michael Norman currently in 4th. Santiago Gutierrez is going to be in the 5th position. All nose to tail. I mean, what would you say, 52nd, 58, 59 seconds at Sonoma? We're getting down to it right now. We're getting pretty close to about 7 laps to go. Granted, 7 laps here is still, about 14 minutes, but they're all nose to tail.
There's that lift I was talking about. If you can hit that curb and then just crank on it, the car just torques.
Too much. There we go. Too much lift. Too much curb will hurt you. Just the right amount will help you.
Yep. Very cool. It's such an old simulator too. 2003 this thing was released, and we're still seeing cool stuff like that.
Trey Kingsley's coming up on the top, up the hill to the start finish line. I want to see where he's going to be. 4th. We've got 3 cars in front of him. Josh Mercurio, Keith Boland, the 43.
RJ Bishop on pit road. Yeah, what do we got here?
It's Allison Rodrigo.
Stats. Dylan Young has retired. So has Zachary Hall, Jane Atkins, Matthias Ecke, and Ben Snyder. Those who retired cars for this evening. Say that 3 times fast. Retired cars for this evening. Retired cars for this evening.
I'm going to leave that for you.
Yeah.
So, you said that Mercurio pitted. Nelson Rodrigo is currently in probably the third, maybe second. Mind you, it all depends on when people pit like that. As we spoke before, it's hard for us to tell you exactly where they are till everything gets caught up.
Yeah, because it's showing Mercurio in first, but he's not.
He just
I believe it's Kinsey. He's being scored in fourth. And Bowden, where's Bowden? He's being scored in second. 66 of Bowden. I noticed on the front of Bowden's car, he's got Saskatchewan written backwards. And you see that coming in your rearview mirror. Saskatchewan, eh?
Eh?
That's right, bud. Driving the Pinty sponsor. Might as well.
The Mercurio's currently about 8.4 seconds into the lead for Keith Bonin. And Trey Kingsley's back about almost 30 seconds. So,
Black flag, Austin LaPlante.
oh no. Must have sped on pit road.
He was in about 14th spot.
I said, now we hit the line.
Now is in 6th.
So now we hit the line.
Yeah.
Zach Rogers in 2nd. Jack Merkel in 3rd. Trey Kingsley in 4th. And Michael Norman in 5th. But the 43, I still think has to pit.
Yes, Allison Rodrigo has only made 1 pit stop this race. So he is going to have to go. I mean, he's got to go next time around, right?
He's got to. We've only had 1 caution. I just don't think he can make the distance. I'm curious to see
20 miles, right? I mean, if he goes the distance, he's got to go 20 miles, and I don't know if his tires are going to last that long. Fuel might, but tires won't.
Fuel, maybe. But he's only got about a 4-second lead over Zach Rogers. So, if this tires are wore out, we've seen how much. I mean, his fastest lap of the evening is 2:08. Currently, his last lap was 2:19.
Wow.
So he's almost 8 seconds slower.
Yeah, than his
and
best.
I mean, he's doing a different strategy, but it's, slowing him down so much.
Yeah.
Ooh, got a bit of curve.
He might be fighting the tires. I'm wondering if he's going to be lining up to go to the pits here.
5 to go. The only advantage we really have, maybe, should a late caution come out.
Is he a keyboard guy?
I would have to say.
I think in the way that the car's moving, it might be a keyboard guy, yeah. Oh, who's that up there?
502.
Lucas Garcia in the 502 in the sand trap.
But was wise and did not pull out in front of him, let him have the track.
Yep.
So now everything's kind of caught up. Zach Rogers is now out in the lead. So
Allison's staying out.
Allison might have pitted. No. He said he only did 1 pit stop.
It's still showing 1, unless it's my stats table might be delayed because of the length of these laps. It just updated itself. He has pitted twice.
Okay.
And he's now in 7th position.
All that information that we try to have to be able to give you a better thing is messing us up on this long track.
Yeah, we're kind of hesitant because of the long laps.
Yep.
But guess who's in first? There's no question about that one. Zach Rogers.
with, though, Jack Merkel right hot on his
behind
heels.
him. Where did Merkel qualify? Because he was down like 22nd or something, wasn't he?
Did not qualify, but
Right, he
Give me
didn't
that
qualify,
info.
but he took a 22nd spot stall or something. This is I'm not gonna be getting away from this battle with
So
4 laps to
taking-
go.
taking me out of the equation, he qualified. He did not qualify, but he started 26th position.
Okay. So he's got a pit stops halfway down pit road. And now he's all over the back bumper of Rogers. This is going to be some kind of battle here.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at probably coming to a line about 3-4 laps to go. I believe it'll be 3. Woo, Zach! Zach was sideways. Jack was sideways. Up and
Merkel's
forward.
been sideways a couple times too.
Got a good run on him out the corner. Zach got a little sideways, and Jack did too, but Jack got a better run off the corner.
Over the line, 0.01 second gap. Merkel got him into turn 1. But it looks like Rogers, they might just be slingshotting each other here. I don't even know what camera to use.
The line now, so going to come back.
Yeah.
But Merkel, like I said, I'm just going to say Merkel's going to get off the corner better, and he does. Coming down to the turn 4, now down into turn 5, a tricky one. Good braking zone. Let's see if he can, if Zach Rogers is close enough to be able to outbrake him into the corner. If Zach decides to go use this, be the smarter part of it is to try to get a better exit off the corner.
I wonder if the damage on the right side of Rogers' car is going to affect any of this.
It could very well be affecting it.
Damaged early on because we had that big pile up. There's no Noah Wetzel. He's going to just hold his line.
Wisely just gets out of the way and lets them
Yeah.
guys race it out.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that early damage, I mean, it didn't mess him up too bad, but you know, Merkel, his car looks pristine, so I wonder.
Yeah. Just kind of taking a little step back from the leaders for just a minute. A little ways behind him, 15 seconds behind, a little about 15 plus, is Michael Norman, currently in the 3rd position. Trey Kingsley's right behind him in the 5th, and he's actually 80 side did that wrong. Michael Norman's in 3rd. Josh Mercurial is in 4th, and Trey Kingsley's in the 5th position. And Trey Kingsley and Josh Mercurial kind of run a nose to tail. Michael Norman's got about a little bit, almost just under a 2-second gap onto them two guys. Back to that battle up front. Zach Rogers still in the 2nd position. Jack Merkel's our current leader. He's kind of gapped him a little bit. Not much. About a half-second lead on him.
A little bit, yeah.
Woo!
Pulling away a little
Rogers
bit,
sent
but
it through that corner, though.
Yeah, he did. He knows how to use this entire track, man. Both these guys are crazy, like, so good at hitting those marks. But again, like, one little mistake.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a good little battle there. They slingshotted each other a couple times, you know, doing the little leapfrog thing, and it looks like Merkel's making it stick now.
As we noted that, for one, he doesn't have very much damage to the car. We see that Zach Rogers does.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know is, you know, we can tell you how many times they pitted, but what we can't tell you is when they actually did. So maybe Zach's tires are a little older, you know, and he's just, with the damage he's got, it's kind of slowing him down a little.
And the damage, it is moderate damage, but you know, depending how it's damaged, you have to drive the car a little bit different, and that can affect tire wear too.
But you think about Jack Merkel, I mean, for one, started in the back, worked his way up to the top 5. All of a sudden, we noticed that he was 20th. And we, you know, backtracked, found out he took a little ride off course. No other cautions to get him back up in there. Probably a little bit of strategy as Mark Snyder lets the 2 leaders by. Little bit of strategy, you know, whatever, but he's got himself out to the front. Although, he hasn't got rid of Zach Rogers. Rogers is all over the rear bumper.
Rogers, I mean, both of these guys aren't making any mistakes, so Rogers has to hope that Merkel makes a mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, Jack doesn't make too many. Neither does Zach. So I'm curious to see how many laps we got going on.
Couple to go now. Lap number 24 of 25 has begun. So 2 to go. 8 miles.
2 to go. 8 miles to decide this thing. And Zach Rogers get up there and take this away, or does Jack Merkel just continue his winning streak, which is pretty cool? From the back, he's been trying to do it all year, and then last week did it. Now again, it looks like he's going to try to get it again this week.
Looks like Carlos Mendez has retired. Victor Guerrero has just leapfrogged him on the stats screen there, moving into 26th position. So the funny thing too about there's only 2 laps left, and so cars that are still running, like Noah Wetzel and Mark Snyder, but they're like -4 laps, -5 laps. They actually won't be able to catch Carlos, even though Carlos isn't racing.
So Zach Rogers comes out of 5.
Yep.
Sliding the thing just sideways. Jack Merkel or 4, I believe it was 4, comes out of not 5, 6, 7, and then next corner, Merkel's out. The right side's out left side's out on the grass on the exit of the corner. These guys are just pushing it for all they've got, stepping off and just keeping on going.
Crocodile Cromp there in the 19-year lap traffic.
Pulls over, lets the guys have the inside.
Yep.
Good
call. Perfect. Yeah, these guys are using
Zach
the
Rogers a little loose off the Canada
a
corner.
little bit, yeah, I saw the fishtail there. He come out of the rumble strips. Just plant that nose. Look at these guys. They don't care about tire wear. They're trying.
Oh, no. Merkel off the track almost.
Yeah.
Sideways on the exit.
Merkel's trying to
White
get away
flag
from.
is in the air.
Yeah, Merkel's trying to get away from Rogers, and Rogers is trying to catch him. So 1 lap to go.
This is it right here. No matter what, they're going to run it all out. There's no cautions from here on out.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Jack Merkel off into the grass a little bit in the exit of 1.
Lap traffic here. Lucas Garcia in the 502.
Interesting to see they going down to 5. I don't think Zach is close enough to make a lunge to it. Lap traffic could play a part. So they catch him. Nope.
Lap traffic's in
Lap
the sand.
traffic decided to play in the sand. They gave him all the room they needed.
Yeah. He had a picnic basket in the passenger seat, so.
Yeah. Last time by here. No. I was going to say Merkel kind of put it out in the grass. He got it good this time.
Matt McIntyre and Mike Scully. I don't believe they're going to be an issue, though. I'll bet you Jack Rogers hopes they will be.
Yeah. Back a little wide to this carousel. He lost a little time there. Through the kink. Oh, Zach just using every bit of the track. Off into the grass a little bit.
Yeah.
Matt McIntyre just kind of pulls over and lets the leaders go. Ooh, back a little lockup going in. Just pushing it to the absolute limit.
I don't think he's going to be able to get him. Unless a
Depends on what Matt
camshaft snaps
Sully-
in half or something.
Matt Sully still kind of running his line. But, yeah, nope, he gets out of the way. Ooh, Zach Rogers loose off the exit of the last corner.
It looks like Merkel's going to get it.
Merkel's gonna be your winner again. Now, it looks like from the standings, Josh Mercurio is going to be the 3rd place car. I've lost track of him for a minute. I'm so busy watching on the 2 leaders. I do not know what happened to Michael Norman. He was right up there. And now it shows him back in the 15th spot. So he must have had an off-track excursion.
Just watching the flag man wave the checkers here as everybody comes over the line. Who's coming up the hill?
Josh Mercurio. Trey Kingsley's going to finish off in 4th. Alison Rodrigo, we talked about that him earlier. I mean, he was leading there for a little bit, and just the way his pit stops, that still worked out pretty good. He got a top 5.
Black flag for Carnby Edward. Tire problem for Victor Correa. Correa? I want to say Correa. I hope I'm right, Victor. I apologize again if we've been trying to pronounce your name properly. I'm sure that 2 or 3 different ways I've said it. One of them's probably correct. Victor Correa, tire problem. Looks like he's going to finish about 23rd.
See if we can find Josh Mercurio, our 3rd place finisher tonight. He snuck in there. Josh Mercurio, gotcha.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We were so busy watching the leaders up there, and I knew last time I knew Michael Norman was the 3rd place car, and I turned around and looked, and I'm like, look at that, Josh snuck up in there. He kind of ran up near the front off and on. Different strategies, different pitting times got you, a little bit out of there. Of course, the turn 1 incident where you guys all were going into the corner and you got kind of knocked out of the way and into Zach Rogers. Great recovery, though. Kind of talk us through your race a little bit.
Yeah, obviously a lot of harmful words were said after that first lap incident. Both for me and Zach, I think we were really excited. We just kind of battled it out between the 2 of us. That is what it is. That kind of stuff happens in racing, and then I got to meet everybody for at least a couple of seconds today. I got to go from the back to the front. And lots of good battles throughout the race, so I should probably have more fun doing it this way than I would have starting at the front and battling for 2nd or 3rd with Zach at the end of the race. I probably had a shot there. I was going to have a lap fresher tires than the top 5, but I ended up losing 1st gear with 10 to go. And from there it was just sort of like a real slog trying to get out of turn 4 and out of Canada corner. So just like let them drive away and then hopefully make it up in the corners and be back in the draft. Luckily for me, Michael and Trey kept battling enough to where I could keep up and eventually take advantage and win it. Or get there. Yeah, 3rd.
Because you did 3 pit stops over the night where Jack Merkel and Zach Rogers only did 2. So you pitted on that after the first caution there, even though it was really, early in the race, you pitted. I personally think that strategy helped you out a bit. We were just questioning why Zach Rogers didn't pit, but we'll find out why here in a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, you ran up front most of the night. Like I said, strategy just changed it so that you never knew. When we were trying to keep track of where everybody was when they pitted, and it changes. But so that puts you still solidly 2nd in the points, which is, of course, obviously what you're looking for. But in order to beat that Merkel guy, you gotta beat that Merkel guy.
Oh, thanks, Ron. I didn't know that. Yeah, going with the pit stop at the end after the first caution, I got quite a bit. I wore up the tires quite a bit, sliding sideways through the asphalt there, and so I just thought I'd risk it. Made it up a couple of spots on pit road, and I only really started a couple positions behind Zach when everything did finally go green, but a little bit fresher tires, was able to make my way up faster than Zach was. As for the championship, it's pretty funny when Jack or Zach get into a little bit of a kerfuffle during the race because they absolutely lose their cool, and you just hear them swearing over team chat, and it's you have to be expecting that in a Maverick race. So even though I'm maybe 190 points back, I know Maverick things will happen, and I'll have a shot.
You're always constantly finishing up near the pretty much always in the top 5 unless something happens. So, that helps, but it's just hard to beat somebody that, always finishes in the top 5 as well along with you,
Yeah. Jack's great competition, and he's good everywhere. So,
oh yeah,
you have to capitalize when he has bad luck, and then limit your losses. So last week, I wasn't really able to. I'd made a mistake at the end of the race and really hurt me, but hopefully I'll just keep getting top 5s, and even if Zach wins, he'll only gain a couple points at me.
Yeah, I haven't seen to have him have too much bad luck this year, but all right, Josh, congratulations on your 3rd. I'm going to give you the floor. That's yours to thank the people that got you here.
Yeah, I got to thank all the guys that work on the Cadillac. Cadillac's cool. I really hope someone else will join me in the Cadillac squad on the field, especially for Daytona, in a couple weeks. And thank my friends and family, all the guys at NNSCRA, who I race with pretty frequently. I got to thank Josh too, who runs Josh's Eggs Touring Series on Monday, which I've been really enjoying. And also Trey Kimsey for letting me do the bump and run on him in the carousel.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was our 3rd place finisher for the evening, Josh McCurry. Currently 2nd in points, and hopefully maybe he can work that up a little higher. Good job, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
Now our pole sitter, who didn't make it out of turn 1 on the first lap for a little bit, had to play out in the kitty litter, and worked his way back up through the field. Didn't hit on the first one when I figured you would, but yet still made it through the field. I didn't see where you got the damage for the night, so I don't know how that happened, but you didn't do what you said you were gonna. I figured you were gonna go to the back.
I said I was thinking about it. I never said definitively that I was going in the back.
Yeah, I know. I had to give you a hard time about that.
Yeah, nothing personal, but I'm still really hot from the way that race went down because there was a lot of miscommunication. For one, before the restart, I was told you cannot pass on the inside. So I checked up because there was an accordion, and what do I see? I see Tate and Josh McCurry just fly by on the inside. So that was really frustrating. And then my good buddy Dylan Young decided that he's not going to just stay sitting in the middle of the track. He's going to gas it up after he spins, and I'm going to the left to miss him, and I just drove right into him. So that's where the damage came from. I had heard that you guys never saw it, so that's where that damage came from. That was right on the first lap of the restart.
Did that damage affect the straightaway speed at all, or?
I don't think it affected straightaway speed. It just made me tighten the corner. To be honest, it might have looked like my straightaway speed was hurting because Jack doesn't have automatic clutch turned on, and that anytime I gained on him through the corners, he pulled it back away on the 2 straightaways, because when you don't have auto clutch on, you gain like 0.5 tenth per shift.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's new information for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's the same if you're running H pattern versus sequential. There's another bit of time advantage to running on an H pattern than using sequential. So
I had you pegged for the win today, so I bet you still did really good. I mean, you can't complain about that, but it's a tough track. Yeah, I know you, and you will, and you should. But I saw the last few laps there, though. You kept kind of getting a little loose on the exit. Sometimes it had something to do with that little green stuff out there, but you were giving it for all, just giving your all and trying the darndest to try to get up there and catch Jack. But when will we see you again racing? Are you coming back next week, or are you done for the season?
Absolutely not. I'm not coming back until Watkins Glen, and hopefully that race is managed more appropriately.
That'll be interesting to see you there at the Glen, because I imagine you're pretty good there.
Yeah, I was going to apologize to Mateus Yankee for dooring him on the straightaway after he almost ran me over in the last corner because I thought it was maybe just a simple mistake. But looking back at the replay, he just decided he was going to drive through me, so he can take a hike.
Blaine, do you have anything for Zach?
No, he did take a hike. I think he retired pretty early in the race,
retired
actually.
3 laps earlier, yeah.
Yeah, he's 19 laps out of a 25-lap race, 24-lap race. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's always fun watching you guys, you and Jack at the end there to how
Fun
you
to watch.
really, oh man, just using the whole track, using the whole car, and especially when you were leapfrogging each other there for a little while, coming down into the last 5 laps or so was exciting, and then you just couldn't get to him. We were talking about it on the broadcast, wondering if the damage had something to do with it, or maybe affected the tire wear or something. But you were less than half a second off of them when you guys went across the line, and a big fan of your dueling burnouts too. That was pretty cool.
All right, Zach,
Yeah.
They give you the opportunity to thank the people that get you here. Floor is yours.
Got to thank Cody Lamas for the paint scheme, me running his car. I got to thank Jack for being a kind, respectful racer. We had a great battle there. All things considered, I was happy to still have a chance at it. Just wish I had not lost my track position to begin with, but as Victor said, ABS caught him off guard, and it's all okay because it happens. But thank you guys for the broadcast. I hope you didn't miss too much stuff that went down. I know it's a road course, it's a big track, it's hard to catch everything, but you know, thanks Ben for putting on the league. I'm over tonight. I don't really have. I can't even really give you a good shout out right now because I'm just so over how this race went. Second place means nothing to me. I'm here for wins.
Yeah, that's good, man. You're passionate about it, man. And when stuff goes awry like that, I can understand it's frustrating. And so it's a long race too. You know, you practice for hours and hours and hours, and you know the race is a long one. 4-mile laps, you know, pit strategies and all that stuff. And I think
one of the most frustrating things is we had the caution come out for turn 1, and then it's not raced back, so you're just sitting there pacing. So you have the pace lap to take the yellow, then you have 2 more pace laps for the yellow, and it's 3 minutes of pace laps. So for 10 minutes, your rage is just festering under caution. You know, pulled off the best lap I had all night just to get taken out in turn 1.
Yeah.
And then I'm just not used to having to stop 1,000 feet earlier for people because I'm so used to being at the front. So like that's on me. Like I had to adjust to that, and I think I got through turns 1 and 2 and I had adjusted, and then I hit another stopped car. So
Rough night, for sure.
man.
All right, well, thanks for coming over and racing, and congratulations on your 2nd place finish. We'll see you at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
yeah. Well,
I changed my mind. I don't know.
I was gonna say thanks for letting us hijack your YouTube feed too. I used it at the front of the race there to. I let you take us for a ride around that place. So.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a good ride around in practice. I don't think it was much of a good ride around in the race.
Yeah, we used it in happy hour when we were going down the qualifying order. So yeah, it's a
Nice.
neat
Yeah, that was a
neat
good
little
time.
spin for the broadcast to be able to hijack somebody else's YouTube channel. So that's cool, man. Thanks for sharing that stuff.
All right, well, now you can interview somebody who's happy about their result.
All right,
All right, there you go. Zach Rogers, our
Thanks,
2nd
Zach.
place finisher of the night. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, man.
So now to the guy, 2 in a row from the back. Now, I don't know about this paint scheme. Is this the one you haven't won with?
No, this is one that Jeff didn't win with.
Okay.
So the streak is back alive.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, because I don't know, because I'm not a Jeff Gordon fan, so I don't know what he won with, what he didn't win with. All in all, started in the back, 26th position was your starting spot for the evening. We kind of focused on a little bit of, we had an incident in turn 1, kind of messed up kind of shook up the field a little bit. Then we got going along, and I was like, well, I'm going to go back and check to see where Zach and Josh Mercurio are. And I'm like, do you realize that Jack Merkel is in 7th position? I said, man, look at that. And then that kind of got me going. So I kind of just kept back. You just kept kind of slowly, methodically working your way towards the front. Good pit stops, and a great car. Not a fender wrong on the thing by you got to the end of the night. Great battle with you and Zach here for the last, 4, 5, 6 laps. So you can tell us a little bit how your night went.
Yeah, wasn't supposed to start in the back. Keith had actually messaged me and said that I didn't have to. And then I've been playing a lot of iRacing the last week, and got on track and realized, I didn't reset my steering ratio. Got off track. On iRacing, you're allowed to do that. In 3, it aborts it. You can't do it. So I didn't get to qualify. That was completely my fault. I screwed that up. And then I knew that first caution happened, and I didn't know who was involved. I just knew it happened. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just kind of slow down, work with the field, and just kind of get through all this. Heard it was going to be a caution, and I was like, all right, I have time until they call it. So I threw it in first and tried to get around as many cars as possible before that caution actually came out. And ended up making another 6 or 7 spots from that. Learned Zach was in it. I was like, okay, just got to be easy, be cool. It'll fall into my hands, hopefully. Got going, got a couple laps in, and then me and the 70, I don't know if y'all saw it, me and 70 actually got together. I got stuck in the sand trap. I got shipped off in turn 4 and stuck in the sand, and I ended up being 30 seconds behind Trey and Michael in the lead, and I was another 20 behind Rogers. I took it, locked in, and I ran them all down for that final pit stop to where I was behind Rogers and Michael as they came out of pits. So I caught Michael 30 seconds over that run, and Rogers another 20 over that run, just locking in and making laps so that I could get there. And then I just knew it would come down to me and Rogers, and he had that damage from that wreck that happened, and I think that is the deciding factor of what enabled me to get around him and stay ahead of him, was him having that damage, thankfully.
Yeah, it was. I noticed that I think you had gotten up to about the 4th or 5th position, and I had mentioned something about it. I said, he's coming, and then we went back to watching the leaders a little bit, kind of looking around, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, Jack's back in 20th. I said he had to have gone off the road somewhere, or something happened. I think Blaine, you went and looked for it and found out what happened on that one, didn't you?
Yeah, you got caught in the sand trap with I think it was a lap car.
It was actually So what happened was it was the 70 car, and I think I was passing him for 4th. I cannot remember.
Yes, he was
off to the left coming into 4, and he braked a little early, and I got around him before the turn. So I figured, all right, maybe he's letting me by. So I kind of cut left to go into the turn, and I guess he kind of let off the brake a little bit to get back up next to me and just hit me. I don't think it was on purpose. I don't think he meant to. It was just kind of a bad situation to be in for both of us. I may have read it wrong. But then the car got stuck. I went pretty far into the sand. It got to 240 degrees before it got out of the sand, so I was worried it was going to blow up.
Oof.
So I was like, whatever, if it blows up, it blows up. I don't really care. So I just started driving it again. Thankfully, didn't use my tires up or lock them up that bad when I spun, and was able to get back and get right up with them and make up. I mean, I made up 4 seconds on that last pit stop, being right there with them, thankfully. And then just knew I had to be patient. I could probably try and get around both of them and use one of the long straights to my advantage, and thankfully I was able to.
I thought those last few 4 or 5 laps, I mean, you were stepping wheels off into the grass a little bit. You were driving the wheels off that thing.
Yeah, I knew it was the only way I was going to get around him, was that I had to overdrive the car a little bit to get there, and then hope that he would do the same thing behind me, or that he would maybe mess up and I could get a little bit of a distance on him. And he would get close to me every corner, and then it would either be the exit or whatever, I could get to it. And when I finally got around him, thankfully, I did the switch over. He did the switch over into 1, and thankfully I was able to keep beside him into 2, and I could just get the run on the high side and keep going and just pull away from him.
That's good. That pads your points lead even more. And not even the greatest and most impressed, who's once again done it from the rear. So that's pretty awesome. Blaine, you got anything more for Jack? If not, we'll let him thank the people that get him here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's always. I mean, I run out of stuff to say because you guys are so good at what you do. I kind of want to broadcast the road course series that Ben is starting up. Just to, I learned so much from watching you guys, right? Like I love running these road courses. I was saying to Rob before the race, like, I'm never going to win anything, but then every once in a while I get like fourth or something. So I'm like, okay, I must be doing something right. It's slow and steady wins the race, hit your marks. But then you're coming up on lap traffic and stuff. Does that, it throws your line off a little bit sometimes. I don't really know where I was going with it, but like I noticed when you guys are kind of, Zach was trying to catch you and we were sort of looking at the lap traffic. But the lap traffic, they were doing great at just holding their line and letting you guys go around them. We're always kind of on the edge of the seat watching that. Like, what are these guys going to do? But they all played it pretty good.
Yeah, that's kind of always the tricky part, is figuring out where they're going to go or what they're going to do and stuff like that. The good thing is if you race in a certain place long enough, you race with certain people long enough, you kind of know what they're going to do and tend to, if they're maybe, this person, he always moves out of the way, and then this person, he stays where he's at, and even if he's in a line, he stays there, so you know to go around him. So thankfully, if you race with people long enough and do a couple of road courses, you kind of learn and kind of understand. So coming to him, I'm like, all right, I know this guy, if we're anywhere close, he's just going to pull over on a straightaway and let us by. This guy, he won't let us by, but he'll stay in his lane, so we just got to figure a way around him. And you kind of just base it off of that and try to size up the corners and figure out where am I going to catch him, what do I need to do when I get there, what do I need to do to be able to keep it from slowing me down enough so that Zach gets around me. Kind of just it's a chess game that you have to play right and hope that they also do what you expect them to do, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Do they communicate that through TeamSpeak and in advance, like, hey, when you get to me kind of thing, I'll stay to the left, I'll stay to the right?
Some do, and some you just kind of, they'll say like, where do you want me to go? And you tell them like, I go to the left or just pull out of the way or whatever. Right. But most of the time people, you race with people on long enough, like Matt or an RJ or Dylan or somebody like that, they know what we want them to do so they doesn't have to. But sometimes you get people that'll like ask you, or they're like, hey, where do you want me to go, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm sort of the same way. Like you're gonna get lapped. I'm like, hey, you caught me, right? I'll just move out of the way. And
yeah,
we saw some guys actually throw it into the sand pit, especially with you and Zach coming, because you're racing each other and you're side by side and da. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna give these guys the whole track, and they just drive right on the grass.
Yeah, Matt McIntyre was in front of us at one point, and we were like, hey, Matt, we're catching you, do something. And he kind of drove a corner and went off the track, and he goes, well, that was accidental, but whatever, it worked, so I guess whatever. And I was like, okay, cool.
We'll give you the whole track.
Yep, it works for me.
It's all yours.
I don't know if y'all heard. I'm pretty sure y'all didn't hear either. But the best part was after that first caution, I went from like 27th or whatever to like 11th, and everybody was kind of sitting there, we're driving, and like 3 or 4 people, I know PV or somebody else too, was like, "How was Merkel in 11th?" They were like, "What do you do to just get like?" Because they were talking about how at Kansas, how I ended up, I was in like 4 or 5 wrecks and still finished 3rd or whatever. They're like, we don't understand how you can just get into a wreck all the time and you're just there. You're always just there. And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
It is weird. Like, I'm pretty good at avoiding accidents that are happening in front of me. Like, you can kind of read it and then get through without taking the damage. And then there's all your track position, right? Like,
yep.
That's especially when there's this many cars too. 32 people start the race, and then you all of a sudden you just jump 12 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is I might not win everything, but I'm gonna be there at the end, so it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
Well, you're always consistently finishing up front, so I don't know. Well, I'd have to look to see what the stats are, and I know the guy right above me, he's probably got them. But what's your worst finish of the year? You know what I mean?
Well, worst finish would be that race where I didn't start until the end of the race. I think I finished 20th. The races that I actually started and finished, the worst one is Daytona, where I finished 10th.
Yeah, so if you're always finishing in the top 5, top 10, you don't have the points race. You just go out, you do the best you can, you finish the best you can, you're going to end up with the most points.
Yep. Yeah, the only start I have where I don't have a top 10 is that one where I missed the race late. And then
I remember
I've only finished outside the top 5 again at Daytona. I finished 9th at Talladega and then 20th at Worldwide. I've been top 5 every other race that I've started and finished.
Because we were like, wait a minute, where's Merkel? And then all of a sudden Blaine's like, oh, he's out there now. And I remember that.
Yeah. I actually got home from a trip that day. Got home at like 3 o'clock, knew I could race. I pulled in the driveway and the power went out because a storm hit, and we didn't get power back until like 20 or 30 left in the race.
I think the funniest story like that I ever had is I've got kind of a computer little desk set up, and there's a window, right to the side of it.
Yep.
I'm racing one night, and all of a sudden, it just like this flash, bright flash, and then whoom, I'm in the darkness.
Yep.
So the lightning hit a transformer not too far outside of my apartment I was in. I'm standing there with my hands on the wheel going, oh boy, now what do I do? I'm in the dark.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fun.
It's been a fun season so far.
So far, yeah. Actually, I'm impressed. I come over here to do this with Blaine, and I'm not gonna lie. I heard horror stories that 20, 30 cautions are nothing, and I am very impressed. I've been over here, and really we've had great races. Sometimes a little bit of cautions in the beginning, and then it just settles down, and everybody goes.
Yeah, it's been a lot better this year than it was last year. Last year was pretty bad for a few races, but I think the car counts are kind of mellowing out. We're not getting as many as we were last year too, and the racing's been a little bit better. You still get the stuff that happens in the back, which is going to happen with a 20, 30 car field, but as far as the racing up front, it's been pretty good all season long, basically.
Yeah, we've had some great fun calling the broadcast, especially this one. Like the last 5, 6, 7 laps, we're just like, okay, we're just going to watch these guys, and it's. But then we had to peel away because Rod was watching, because I'll focus on one part of the track and he'll kind of see what I'm doing on the broadcast. And he'll start wandering around in the field looking at intervals and saying, oh, these two guys are really in a battle for 18th. So even when we're watching the leaders, we'll flip back to 12th, 13th position sometimes because these guys are door slamming, trying to get around each other too. Yep. So we try to get around the track, and it's a long track. There's a lot of cars, guys be like, hey, they never saw me do this or whatever. We're trying. There's only 2 of us, right? So I'm watching one section of the track. Rod's kind of scoping out the rest.
I jump everywhere.
Feeding me timestamps so I can do replays and stuff, and then we're always going to miss something. But yeah, man, tonight was a full-time job. This is crazy trying to cover everything out here tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I kept telling him we need to get somebody else in here so you can just be the producer.
Yeah, somebody setting up replays and scanning through footage and stuff. It's weird how an old game from 2003 can still be so cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jack. All right, Jack. I'm going to give you the floor. You thank the people that got you here, so we can end the show.
Yeah, no pressure.
Pressure. Thanks for Fortnite Squad Racing for another good car. Nick at Cinnamon Surge for being on it this time, and thanks for Rogers for not taking me out once again. It's fun battling with him. I know he's not that happy about it, but it's going to happen when you get 2 people who are basically dead even on talent into a race and put them 1-2. It's going to happen back and forth a lot. Just thanks to Ben for putting this on, and thanks to y'all for streaming it. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, there's your winner again, 2 in a row, and I'm going to go 3. I don't know where we at next week.
We're at Daytona in 3 weeks.
Oh, we got next week off. Okay.
There's only one race next month, and that's the Daytona race.
Yep.
Oh,
so
nice.
And it's a Daytona. Do not expect me to be in this broadcast booth after that race because I will not be top 3.
Hey, trust me, I'm here. I hear you, buddy. Martinsville, I'll run Martinsville all day long.
Oh, yeah,
I'd rather be up here. I'd rather be up here broadcasting for a Talladega or Daytona race. Congratulations on your first place in a row. So hopefully, maybe you'll get it done next week. But hey, Current's point leader.
We'll see. Appreciate it.
Good job, guy.
Thanks, Jack. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Jack Merkel, everybody.
Yeah, that was a good race. Action everywhere.
Yeah, there's 5 Tuesdays next month, and we're only broadcasting on one of those Tuesdays, and that'll be Daytona on the 8th, I think we just said.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll get a little time off from it then.
Not next week, not the week after, but the week after that. So in 3
we'll still
weeks,
be doing some broadcasting if I can get home in time, but yeah.
Yep. There's always something going on. Maybe I'll do some racing.
I'll be doing racing for real, but working on it for real.
He's in the room. He snuck in. Great race, man. That race was awesome. Ben, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race, man. That's such a cool track.
All right, so we have the question before we jump off the air here.
Yep.
You got disqualified tonight, Benjamin. What happened?
Backwards
driving
in the sand
backwards.
pit. He put it in the YouTube chat.
Yes.
I was watching some of it, but not all of it. So.
Yeah. He was, let's say, got DQ'd for driving backwards out of the sand pit.
Oh, okay.
Going against the grain, and they're like, yeah, nah, you're out of here.
Yeah. Can't
I was
drive
really
backwards.
hoping to finish under power tonight.
Great race. The good battles up front, good battles, pretty much all through the field. Little episode there in turn one that, kind of shook up the front of the pack, but
on the
all
restart,
of the
it was
drivers-
flawless. The
all
next,
them drivers came back up to the front.
yeah, the restart after the big mess that was flawless, going 3 wide through there, and everything was a-okay. So I mean, everybody learned from that one. Why only one race in July?
Well, July 21st is my birthday, and
Okay.
I usually like to travel around my birthday, and so that's the case for this year. But next year, we're going to be adding more races in July. My birthday falls on a Tuesday, so maybe I can do what's only been done 5 times in the NASCAR Cup Series. And we're expanding the number of races on the schedule next year. We're going to have 2 more races than we have this year. In case you didn't know, tonight was actually the last race of the first half of the season. We've got 12 races down and now 12 races to go.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We're halfway through this already.
Really?
Damn. Yeah,
Time
Michael.
flies.
It does.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool races coming up too. Let's put the schedule up here on screen real quick. Boom. Yeah, so Road America complete, of course. Daytona International, Rockingham, Indianapolis, Michigan, Watkins Glen, Atlanta, Bristol, New Hampshire, Talladega again, Martinsville, Phoenix, and Homestead, Miami.
Wait until you see my throwback for Rockingham. You're going to love it.
Oh, your paint scheme?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, Watkins Glen will be a good one. Indianapolis is always cool too. That's a really, I don't know, man. That's just a really cool looking track. I don't know,
agree.
I
I've
like it.
actually been there. I did a guided tour of the track a few years ago. Kiss the Bricks was part of it.
Oh, cool.
Got to go inside the pagoda, into the winner's circle.
So it's just wide open. Like when they say tour the track, like you get to go everywhere, kiss the bricks and everything.
Yeah.
That's super cool. What version of Bristol are you running on? What's it say there? The 16th of September.
I forget what version it is, but we are going to be running under the lights.
Cool.
And same goes for the Daytona race next month. That will be a night race as well.
Right. Is it the same length as the opener, or do you run a shorter version? Like
Same
lap
length
count?
as what?
I know, like in real NASCAR, the 500, then it's like a 400-mile race, right? The second one?
The July race will be 400 kilometers, which is 100 laps. So 80% of what we had earlier this year with the 500.
Right.
And Tate and I were talking earlier, and Keith, we were talking about possible tweaks we're going to be making to the qualifying format for the 500 for next year to make the race even better.
Yeah, because you had to have a couple of different sessions to determine that, right?
Well, what we did was we had qualifying the week before, and then the top 28 were locked in along with 4 provisionals, and then all the drivers that were left over raced in a B main, which was 25 laps for the remaining 8 spots.
Right.
We may be changing it so that qualifying night actually sets the starting lineup instead of doing a second qualifying session on race night. Sponsors are always welcome throughout the season. We're looking for sponsorship. If anybody wants to put up funds to go towards a winner's purse for the 500 to pay out the podium at least, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. And they could just get a hold of you direct?
Contact High Voltage Racing League on Facebook. There's a Facebook page, High Voltage Racing League. Shoot us a message, and we'll be in touch.
Cool. Yeah, if you're looking for the link, it is in the description of every single one of these broadcasts on Facebook there. basically the home page.
Actually, that's the league members group. There's a second page called High Voltage Racing League,
Oh, okay.
which is for the league as a whole, not the Cup Series specifically.
Gotcha. Oh, you have separate Facebook pages for each series.
No, we have a Cup Series group, that's a Facebook group, and then the page is where we're going to be posting like updates, announcements publicly, and that's for the league as a whole for all of our series, because we're adding 2 new series in 2026, and we'll be revealing those later this year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Very cool.
I'm just currently scratching Road America off the list as we move to Daytona in a couple of weeks. So yeah, in 3 weeks we'll see you back here at Tarnation TV. And yeah, that's basically it. Another awesome race. We'll get some updated statistics and everything, and it should be. Do you think the turnout for this Daytona will require more of that knockout qualifying? Usually it's a pretty big turnout, I think, for Daytona.
We do same night knockout qualifying for any race that's not the 500, so I do think we will have some DNQs.
Okay. Well, it should be good. It's always a big race. It's always a good one. The Daytona 400 kilometers. I like it.
The race will be known as the Budget Customs Firecracker 400. We actually have a sponsor for that race.
That's a lot of words. The Budget Customs Firecracker 400.
Wanted to include the Firecracker name to give it some of that old school flair.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, do you have anything you need to say, Ben? Right now, wrap this
Not
thing up.
much. Well, all I got left to say is, it's Maverick Night in America, baby!
Here it is, Rod. What about
There
you?
you
What
go.
do you got, Rod? Follow that up, I dare you.
I can't follow that up.
Okay.
Come on now.
All right, then.
Great night of racing. Good race tonight. It's like I said, it's been a lot of fun to do this.
Yeah,
Thank
it has
you.
been. It's been a fantastic season so far. So hopefully you guys, everybody watching, thanks for watching, subscribing, and commenting on the YouTube channel. It's always so cool to see that people actually care about what we're doing. And hopefully you dig it. And we're doing our best. So yeah, in a couple of weeks, we'll see you back here on the 8th of July for the Daytona 400 kilometers Firecracker. What were the words?
The Budget Customs Firecracker 400.
Boom, there it is. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice.